Hello, and welcome back to A Hushed Hideaway. First, before we get started, I do want to say that if you guys hear any noise going on behind me or upstairs, it's just some of the construction that we have going on from the flood. It's taking a lot longer than we originally thought, but regardless, it's getting done. So if you do hear a little bit of noise, that's what that is. But I'm really excited about today because today we're taking a trip back to a mysterious place from the era of the Cowboys. I love learning about the Wild West, as some would say it. Um, Nonfiction, even fictional westerns, have always been of great interest to me. History really is as a whole. Probably why I'm going back to school to be a history major. Anyways, but back on track. Today we're going to be traveling to Tombstone, Arizona. Now, there's a lot of places in Tombstone, Arizona we could be talking about, but we're going to focus on one in particular. This particular one is Birdcage Theater, but it was more than theater, but we'll get back to that. I'm sure if you know anything about the Old West, you have heard about Tombstone, Arizona as a whole. It's a very famous little town, not quite so little. We'll go over like a little brief history, just really fast, kind of bullet pointing of the historic town. But again, like I said, today we're going to be focusing on the Birdcage Theater and why it's supposedly one of the more haunted paranormal activity places in the US today. So Tombstone, Arizona was sought after for its riches in the mines, causing communities to develop. So the Cowboys settled on ranches surrounding these canvas villages where people would just like pop up tents before they could, actually make homes. People were swarming in by the dozens. But these Cowboys would provide beef at like less than market value with stolen cattle from Mexico. But eventually, the Cowboys become lawless, demanding more. And it was at this time that the Earp brothers and Doc Holliday came into play. I'm sure those names might be a little recognizable to you, as they should be, resulting in the most famous gunfight in history. Now, if you haven't read or even watched anything about Wyatt Earp or Doc Holliday or the Battle of Tombstone, I highly suggest it. They're a lot of fun to watch, at least they are for me. And if you're listening to this podcast, it probably is for you too. But regardless of its popularity for being like a gunslinging town, it was actually very modern for the time. So the telephones were installed in 1882. And in 1883, the city had 2 gas companies, 3 water companies, 2 ice companies, 5 ice cream parlors. Fresh seafood was delivered daily from Mexico, and just west of the city was a track for horse racing, and on the infields of the racetrack was a baseball diamond for their baseball team that they had from 1882 to 1929. And the first swimming pool in the Arizona Territory was actually placed there as well. It was and is truly the town too tough to die. Now, the Birdcage Theater was built in the midst of it all, opening in December of 1881. It was owned by Lottie and William Billy Hutchinson. And it was originally intended to present like respectable family shows, like the ones that you would have been seeing in like San Francisco at the time. They even hosted like a ladies' night for the respectable women of Tombstone who could attend for free. But ultimately, this did not work as well as they thought it would have, just due to the people and the way Tombstone was. So soon after, they would cancel ladies' night and begin offering different entertainment that appealed to a more rougher mining crowd, and of course the Cowboys. Now the Birdcage Theater turned into a hub, opened 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. I mean, it did not close, offering 12 balcony boxes where prostitutes worked, masquerade balls featuring cross-dressers, acts from the female Hercules, comic duos, opera singers, comedians, Cornish wrestling competitions, magicians, and just somewhere that miners and Cowboys and everyone alike could just come drink and dance the night away if they wished. One of the more popular magic shows was that of a magician claiming that he could catch bullets with his teeth and he barely escaped with his life when someone who was not a part of the show challenged him. The shows also were just a wide variety of lively acts, including specialties and skits, and it was not uncommon for patrons to shower the stage with silver coins to show their approval to a performer. Now, one night in 1882, during a performance of the play Uncle Tom's Cabin, a drunken cowboy got caught up in the drama of Simon Ledger's dogs pursuing little Eliza across the river. He stood up, drew his pistol, and shot one of the dogs. Now the crowd got really angry, as we all do whenever a dog dies. Ugh, can't stand it when a dog dies. Anyways, sorry. The crowd got really angry, pounced on him, and held him down until the marshal could cart him off to jail. Kill a person back then, but if you kill a dog, oh, Lord help you. The next day, the repentant cowboy offered his horse as pretty much repayment, as saying sorry for the dog. Luckily for him, it was a real dog this time, and not an actor in a dog's costume. But not everything was all fun and games, if that's what you want to call it. This was a place for anyone to come. As those two examples showed, outlaws and murderers alike would visit. It was a gambling hall, a saloon, and a brothel, all rolled into one delightfully scandalous package. Now, these bird cages were these small cubicles suspended from ceilings where the ladies of the evening would entertain clients. Now, these you can actually still see to this day if you were to visit and tour the old theater. These women were expected to conduct their business in these glorified hanging closets while gunfights would erupt below. And many, many, many gunfights did. They say that there are 140 bullet holes throughout the building, each one representing a moment when someone's night went from bad to worse. Now, I definitely think that it would prove enough reason for the place to be among one of the most haunted places in the US, just based on the amount of tragedies that would have happened there. But if you were to visit the town of Tombstone, it is as if history is literally still alive. The Birdcage being one of the most untouched historic places that you can still visit. It looks as if it's like frozen in time. Like cards and chips sprawled on the green felt of like the tables from games and gambling. The bar area remains completely stocked with original bottles. Of course, the actual liquid inside of it has evaporated since, but the bottles are still there, untouched. Scuffs and scratches of countless elbows and spilled drinks, and probably even more than a few face plants still reside on the bar itself. The basement level houses what once was the longest running poker game in history. Now, legend has it that this game ran continuously for 8 years, 5 months, and 3 days. And a minimum buy-in would make today's high rollers sweat. Now, Doc Holliday, Bat Matheson, and other legendary figures of the American West was just some of the participants that was said to have joined in. So it's pretty cool kind of to see the place. One of the most fascinating aspects of this place, of the theater, is how untouched it still remains. There are chairs that literally look like somebody just backed out of them and got up and was coming back. I mean, it's so frozen in time. It's insane. Unlike all the other historic places and sites that have been renovated and sanitized and gift shopped to death, this place closed its doors and essentially remained sealed until it was reopened as a museum, resulting in a time capsule so authentic, it's unsettling. Now, visitors and staff alike have reported hearing music when no one is playing any, seeing shadowy figures dart between rooms, and feeling unseen hands brushed against them in empty corridors. most reported apparition is that of a woman in a red dress, believed to be a birdcage girl named Margarita. She is said to appear near the stage, maybe still seeking her moment of spotlight. Well, if I saw her, safe to say that she would definitely have that moment in the spotlight or right before I left. Other sightings are that of a young boy who darts through the building as if he's still playing like a game of hide and seek, and a man in a visor and a sleeve garter who hangs out around the gambling tables as if he's still hoping to get a better hand. Now, rattling chains, woman's laughter, and clinking of glasses are also among the reported. Temperature changes are very common occurrence when visiting this site, which is a little crazy, seeing how you're in the middle of a desert. At least 16 documented deaths had occurred within the theater walls, and that's just documented. Murders, suicides, and at least one heart attack during a particularly exciting card game are a few to mention. Now, if you do go and you take pictures, don't be surprised if you get like mysterious orbs or unexplained figures or strange mists appearing in your photos. The staff actually supposedly keeps a collection of these images, adding them to them regularly from the new photos that come in. So you'll be able to kind of see those. And if you do go on the tour they offer, you'll get like a brief history of like different stories that they know of. But be prepared to meet like ghostly men in cowboy hats, touched or pushed by invisible forces, sounds of laughter, yelling, and music. Pretty much be prepared to feel as if you have traveled back into time, into the past, back to a day when lawlessness ruled. Now, on a portion of the tour, they even go completely lights out, giving their full effect to anyone wanting to try and experience something that's completely unexplained. Although, according to reports, it doesn't seem to matter whether the lights are on or off. But hey, if you're scared of the dark, I guess it could add to the paranoia. Paranoia? I'm so sorry. My words aren't working very good today. So the place has been on Ghost Hunters in 2006, Ghost Adventures in 2009 and 2015, Ghost Lab in 2009, and Fact or Faked Paranormal Files in 2011. The theater is also featured in the movie Tombstone, which is a great movie, by the way, but it's from like 1993, I think. I'm not sure if that's exactly right, but it might be. There's also a little side note. I suggest if you haven't watched anything about the Earp brothers or anything, I suggest watching Wyatt Earp and the Cowboy War on Netflix. It's a little bit newer. I think it came out this year. It might have been the end of last year, but I think it was this year. It was really interesting. If you've never seen it, I suggest watching it. It's based in the town of Tombstone. So if you do plan on taking a trip to Tombstone, watch all these little things, learn a little bit about history. If you're not much of a reader, obviously you can watch some shows, but take pieces of, they always add a little bit of fiction into the fact. So just take that as you will, but have fun with it. Regardless whether you're like a history buff, ghost hunter, or just someone looking for an unforgettable Arizona experience, the Birdcage Theater delivers a performance that's been running nonstop over a century. And the town of Tombstone is definitely one to remember, leaving an experience that is absolutely hard to forget. It's for sure on my list of places to visit. So if you don't know about Tombstone and you look it up, they still dress as if they're from the 1800s. The town looks like it's unchanged. It literally looks like out of a Western or a movie still to this day. So it looks really cool. And if you're looking for a different experience or a way to just kind of travel back in time a little bit, I really want to go. And if you do go, or if you had went, words again today aren't working. If you have went, send me pictures or tell me about your experience. Tell me how you liked it. I would love to go. Okay, anyways, today's word of the day is cartomancy. Now, cartomancy is a type of fortune telling that involves a person being able to tell the fortunes of another by reading and interpreting a random selection of playing cards. Cartomancy is thought to originate from the 14th century Europe and is one of the oldest forms of fortune telling. In English-speaking countries, the most common form of cartomancy is generally the tarot card reading. Tarot cards are almost exclusively used for this purpose in these places. Now, really, the exact origins of cartomancy are difficult to pinpoint, as the card game has been played in various forms since the late 14th century. The earliest known playing cards actually appeared in China during the Tang Dynasty, evolving from traditional Chinese game pieces. These earlier cards traveled westward to Europe through trade routes and were adapted to fit local cultures. Now, the first recorded mention of card reading appears in Italy during the late 15th century, when playing cards had become popular among nobility. The tarot deck, consisting of 7 cards divided into major arcana and minor arcana, emerged around this time. Now, tarot cards were initially used for playing games rather than divination. The tarot's role in cartomancy, while tarot's primary role was a gaming tool, it gained significant traction as it mentions divination during the 18th century. Now, French occultists began popularizing the idea that tarot cards held mystical powers that could provide insights into one's future. By associating specific meanings with each card, and developed elaborate spreads for interpretation, laying down the groundwork for the modern tarot readings. The rise in Romanticism in Europe further fueled the interest in mysticism, spirituality, and the occult. Tarot became intertwined with mystical traditions such as Kabbalah and alchemy, enhancing the allure among seekers of a deeper knowledge. And last but not least, this week's fragment of fixation is actually a podcast that has helped me so much lately. So as I have mentioned, and I'm sure some of you already know, I have been renovating my home for a few years now. My house is from 1880. It needed a lot of renovations when I came here. And last month, my kids ended up flooding my home and leaving lots of the work we already did completely ruined. Now, I used this podcast whenever I was decorating and renovating for the first time, but I'm finding myself using it as I'm having to go back through it a second time. Now, the podcast is called Decorating Tips and Tricks, but don't get me wrong, it's not just decorating or just, hey, put this here, or this is how you should do this. It's not just that. I highly suggest taking a listen if you're stuck with redoing a room or just trying to figure out what you need to put where. They have all kinds of tips from organization to how much clearance you should have when walking between things to make it feel more natural and not crowded. If maybe how far you should be away from a wall, or how much of a walkway you should have between this and that. It helps a lot. They also have a lot of color theories that are an easy way to improve your mindset from things you have in your house and around you, and things that you may not even know that's affecting you and how you sleep and not even realizing it. And then you do it to help you do what they suggested to help you, and you'll realize how much of a difference it really makes. They're also really easy to listen to, and I just thoroughly enjoy them. Again, that was Decorating Tips and Tricks. They are absolutely amazing. Please go check them out. And if you have enjoyed today's trip into a haunted past and want more of these, please make sure to like and follow, tell a friend, tell your family, tell your cat, your dog, your horse, I don't know. And if you really want to help, leave a good review. It's a great way to get my podcast pushed out there to others. Also, make sure to visit our website, hushedhideaway.com, for updated information. Until next story.